This is a special podcast presentation from 700WLW.com. This is Doc Thompson On Demand.
Boy, it has been a good week already. It has been a good week for common sense. Just the last couple of days. Well, yesterday, the House of Representatives in D.C. voted to defund NPR. Common sense prevailing. Well, I mean, they still have to deal with the Senate, the president signing it, so it may not get done, but at least it was common sense vote in the House, and that made sense. You have some senators in Congress, 8 of them who've banded together that says, we are not going to vote on anything else. We are going to stop business in the Senate until we address the budget deficit and the national debt. In fact, 8 of them sent a letter to Harry Reid. Said this, of course, politics being played, and Harry said, the party of no and all of that garbage, whatever. One of them was Rand Paul from Kentucky, Jim DeMint from South Carolina, Jeff Sessions from Alabama, just to name a few of them, saying, you know what? This is the issue out there. This is the elephant in the room. Let's deal with this. We are not going to go any farther until we start dealing with it, until we start having talks on the national debt and the budget deficit. Common sense approach. Now, they may not be able to stop action. You could see some defections and stuff, but at least that's common sense. And now some common sense from Jeff Birding. He's off the streetcar. He's off the trolley car now. He is not on it. Now, he has supported in the past, but he says the plan no longer works. Excellent. Nicely done, Mr. Birding. You're absolutely right. He has officially asked the mayor to put the project on hold indefinitely, as he should. See, this is what's so funny about the trolley car project. Now, at this point, there's no common sense. It is all ideology. Listen, I'm opposed to it. I think it's a bad plan. It is not going to help the area. It's going to be a money pit. You can look at other areas and see that things like this have happened before. Oh, sure, there's a couple of success stories, like Portland at face value, until you dive into it and you realize how much they're actually subsidizing it and stuff, and it doesn't work. It's not a good plan. It's not the thing that is going to help the area. It's not going to help. And if it does, it'll be nominal at best for over $128 million. That is the starting price. Now we know how much it's going to go up, another 10 or 15 million just to move the utility lines and stuff. And then, of course, there's always cost overruns and delays and all of this stuff. So the entry level is $128 million, and we will not see the return on the investment. You can spend that $128 million other places and get a much bigger return on your investment. Now, I don't think we have the $128 million at this point anyway. I mean, the governor's budget came out. We know we're looking at cuts there. The federal government, it is broke. Locally, we don't have the money. We're talking about, cutting different government workers, trying to deal with pensions and all of this stuff. We don't have the money. But if you're going to spend the money in the attempt to help out the area, to see development, to see the economy go up and jobs, building a trolley car line that is cumulative, 8 miles? What is the point? It's not going to help. So Jeff Birding now saying, all right, it doesn't make sense. Put it on hold indefinitely. That's common sense. Even if you like the idea, and even if you say, Doc, you're wrong, I think it'll be the biggest thing out there, it'll be great. Common sense says, don't do it right now. Even if you want to work on the project, even if you're in there fighting for it, common sense says, now is not the time. If you believe in it, I'm not telling you not to continue to fight for it. I'm telling you to use common sense and say right now is not the time. The governor is going to do away with the funding for it. That by itself, that alone says now is not the time. That by itself says let's push it back. So if you're a supporter, use common sense and say, hey, maybe we regroup. I recognize what's going on right now as far as debt and job loss and the economy. We'll look forward 5 years down the road. Let's take the next couple of years, get our plans together, try to come up with some other funding plans, tweak the plan we have, and if the economy gets better, then we'll put a push in for it. Birding is using common sense. Right now, it doesn't make sense. Put it on hold. Now, he's stepping down from council. It could be as early as next week. And his decision could end up blocking the majority of the council's support for the $128 million outrageous spending plan that's not going to help. He said, I continue to believe in the vision and the promise of the streetcar. Okay. He said, but I'm also a realist, and it's clear to me, as it should be to anyone, that we're in no position to move ahead with the streetcar now. It's time for the mayor, the administration, and the majority of council to acknowledge the facts. That is incredibly reasonable. He still believes in it. There's a difference of opinion. Some do, some don't. But look at the facts out there right now. Now is not the time, and it is not doable. That's incredibly reasonable. Now, he sent a letter that is supposed to be delivered to the mayor today. It's a pretty digging letter. He, in a not real aggressive way, accused the mayor of ineffectual leadership and a, quote, unwillingness to make difficult choices, end quote. He said it results in a fiscal mess that is the city's budget. He said actions taken by you and the majority of council have shown that we cannot be trusted to oversee the project of this magnitude. Now that's big. That changes it up a little bit. That takes it down a different road from just we don't have the money. We don't have the money for it right now, to the mayor and council cannot be trusted to oversee the project of this magnitude. I don't disagree with him there, but that's kind of a new attitude. He said we cannot rely on the uncertainty of future federal grants. If we reduce the scope of the project, the result would be to minimize the economic impact of the investment. I do not support any of these measures in that they are not fiscally responsible. Kasich is not supporting it. Now, as I mentioned, when Strickland was still there and still going ahead, spending money, even though Kasich's going to defund it, we have now moved down the road a couple of months, and we have wasted more time and more money. Instead of people being reasonable, using common sense and saying, let's regroup on this thing. I don't doubt that the members of council, the mayor, Ted Strickland, John Kasich, and a whole lot of other people all have, at least as one of their motivations, what's best for Ohio, what's best for the tri-state, Hamilton County, Cincinnati. I don't doubt that these people have, at least as part of their motivation, there may be other things. They may be politically motivated at times. They may be selfishly motivated about their own endeavors and their own future. But at least partially, I think they want, as you and I want, the area to boom. More jobs, a better economy, better paying jobs, growth. People moving here as opposed to moving away. Where at the next census, we can add congressmen, showing that people have come here as opposed to have left here. We want those things. But if you were to sit down right now in a room full of people who also wanted the area to do well, and you really trusted that, you really trusted that that's what their motivations were, and you started talking about ideas for the area, would a streetcar, would a trolley car, knowing what you know about it, would that be the thing you came up with? Would that be the thing that you say, yes, let's spend $128 million minimum entry buy-in bid to do? Is that the thing? That's the silver bullet? That's the magic bullet that is going to cause droves of people to come here. Wow, I was thinking to move to Florida, but now that I realize Cincinnati's got a trolley car, I'm moving there. You know, I was thinking of leaving the tri-state for a sunnier climate or even a place that has more jobs. But they built that trolley car. I can't leave it now. Look at it. It brings a tear to my eye. I've got to stay. I love it. No, you wouldn't come up with that. That's the idea that people scramble for when they find out, hey, there's somebody offering us money, federal money, state money. Let's see if we can spend it. Let's see if we can spend it on things above ground so we can get reelected. I don't believe that the mayor, members of city council, and a lot of other people involved in this that say they like the idea, I don't believe they really think it is going to have this huge impact. I don't think they think that. I think they think it won't hurt the area. And aside from the spending, it probably won't. I mean, if you didn't have to worry about spending it, funding it, or whatever, all right, there'll be some delays as they build the thing, as they move the track, stuff like that. It's not going to be, a death sentence to the area, anything like that. But it makes it look like they're getting things done, and hey, the money's out there. So let's use a little bit of common sense. Let's think about this from a common sense approach. Leadership from the mayor, leadership from council saying the funds are not going to be there. Let's put our energies and our finances somewhere else. Let's look to other places to see what we can do. What can we do? I would rather have, and I would be willing to bet you would come up with ideas as well that probably wouldn't cost very much money at all, certainly not $128 million. And then you have that $128 million or whatever available to spend on. That's your magic bullet. Do you have any ideas, by the way? Any ideas, things that you've said, we ought to do? We all know the big ideas. We all know the huge ones about tax reform and bringing jobs in and manufacturing. We all know those. But what about the clever, creative, smaller ideas that may not be a magic bullet, but could really help out the area and probably wouldn't cost a whole lot? I'll bet as you drive down the road all the time, you're like, what they ought to do? Somebody ought to. We should do. We're going to talk about those at about 10:16 this morning, right after I talked to Mo Eggers about the NCAA tournament. Jim in Cincinnati, you're on 700 WLW.
Hey, Doc, enjoy your show.
Thank you, sir.
That's like the River Freedom Center drawing a bunch of people down here to live. And I'd like to know if the governor's going to defund that,
I don't know, and we haven't gone through his entire budget yet to get all the little pieces. It's almost 800 pages. I would guess the Freedom Center he'd have a little more trouble defunding because you got the whole politics and you got the whole race thing involved there. You don't want to go there, Jim.
Yeah, well, I heard that they want the feds to take over it now.
Yeah, I've heard some things about that as well. But I appreciate your call. Get to some more coming up. It's Doc Thompson on 700 WLW. Fox 19 Storm Tracker forecast for meteorologist Katie Morgan. Today we're looking for mostly cloudy skies. Got a chance of showers, high around 68. Tonight a chance of showers again, low 44. More rain tomorrow morning. That should be drying up by tomorrow afternoon, giving way to some sunny skies and about 60 tomorrow, so not too bad for your Saturday. Currently 59 at 700 WLW. Now here's an idea. This is not a silver bullet. It's not a huge amount of money, but it's still a pretty good idea. It's nothing compared with Hamilton County's $30 million that they need to come up with for the stadium funds. But they are going to get a windfall of about $720,000. It's going to be over 10 years, but still that's $720,000 going towards it. AT&T is going to lease space at Paul Brown Stadium in the Great American Ballpark to put up cellular phone antenna system. They're going to pay the county about $360,000 for each tower. About $720,000, but over 10 years. Not a huge amount of money. We're not talking millions and millions of dollars, but that does help out. And that's something a little bit unique. Good for them. That's a good way to bring in some extra dough. It's a good way to put money to the bottom line. Now we just need a whole lot more of those things. We need a lot more. We get some serious issues, some serious funding issues. And unfortunately, Jeff Birding is a little bit right when he says that there has been ineffectual leadership and unwillingness to make difficult choices from the mayor. It's not just the mayor. It's all around. It's kick the can down the road. We know we have these huge deficits looming down the road locally. And they just keep Band-Aiding it. Maybe they really don't know what to do. Maybe that's it. I'm always pretty critical. I say it's a lack of leadership and it's politics. Maybe that is part of it. Maybe they really do not know what to do. That makes a lot of sense. How many people are really geniuses when it comes to management, budgeting, economics? All right, how many of them are very good at it? I mean, in society, look around. How many people do you know that are really, really sharp when it comes to being a leader, to managing, and budgeting the economy? Probably not a whole lot. Most of the people I know are goofs. So why would we expect that people that we elect to office, that they're all going to be great at this? I'll bet most of them are not. And they go in and they see the job as, we get money from primarily taxpayers. We get money from these people. This is how we get it in. And then we spend money on services. And I think in their minds, they see themselves as just that middleman. Hey, I'm here. Sure, they may have a couple of little causes here and there they're working on, change the law about this, or we need to do that. But they're paper shufflers. I don't think a whole lot of them are sitting there saying, what can we do that's clever? What can we do that's different? What ideas can we come up with? This grand vision for 5, 10, 20, 50 years down the road. I don't think they have it. I think it's here's the problem right now. Here's the fire we've got to put out today. All right, now I can go home. I think that's how they see it. Now, I was talking to a guy the other day, a guy that I know that's pretty sharp when it comes to business. And he said, the job I have now, he said, when I first took it over, he said it was overwhelming because there was a lot of things wrong. He's a manager. He said there were a lot of things wrong, just hemorrhaging money, things not going the right way. He said, in month after month, when I first started, he said, I'd take it home every night, and I'd come in the next day, and I'd get beat up, and I'd go home. He said, and finally, one day, I'm driving to work, and I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I am not going to go into work and focus on all of these horrible things, all of these negative things that are going wrong. He said, I'm going to focus on the things we're doing right. I'm going to promote those things. I'm going to try to expand those things, and I'm going to try to build on those things. And that's what he did, and ended up turning it around. We don't have those type of people. We have I'm going to go to work today. I'm going to put out this fire. What are my obligations? And I'm going home. It's difficult to find those people that are willing to look 20 years down the road, knowing that they may lose their position. They may not get reelected in a couple of years because of the things they're doing, because they're looking so far down the road. It's difficult to find somebody that's willing to put it out there if they have the ideas and if they're that talented for 20 years down the road, knowing that it's probably not going to benefit them. They might be gone. But that's what we need. We need the evolving 20-year and 50-year plan. We need that as a country, we need it as a state, and we need it regionally. That's the type of leadership we need. I think Birding's right. We don't have a whole lot of that, but it's not just from the mayor. It's even from council, and it's probably even from him. Stock Thompson, 700 WLW.